and we saw the plane on the other side.
Was then flown into the second tower. That is what we are hearing.
And we started running, floor by floor, it started popping out.
Look up behind you!
Originally, I'm from Long Island, New York. At the time, September 11th, I was living there, Massapequa. Now I live in Westchester County, at the southern part, really close to the Bronx. That morning, I had gotten to school early, and I was waiting in the hallway of my elementary school. I was in 5th grade, and I remember it was around like 8:30, and my friend Anthony came up to me and had told me a plane crashed into the World Trade Center. And I remember at the time I didn't really understand what was going on, but we got to class a few minutes later, and our teacher immediately put the TV on to watch the news. But he had been told by the school principal that he wasn't allowed to have any of the news programming on, because I guess they didn't want to expose the children to what was going on at the time.
I live on the Upper East Side, 84th Street and 3rd Avenue, which is about 5 or 6 miles away from the World Trade Center, so it's not too close, but you could actually still see the smoke from my house, which is the severity of the incident. 9/11, I was in school. We were in elementary school. It was 5th grade for me, and our teacher, actually the whole school was sent to church, and we didn't know what was going on. It was like completely random during the middle of the week, and they brought the whole school in and sat us down, and all of a sudden they just told us the news, and no one really knew what was going on, but a lot of students had parents that were working in the World Trade Center, so all of a sudden students all over the school were crying in church, and then it like really hit me. I was like, wow, this is serious.
I wasn't really sure exactly what had happened. I was young. I was like 11 years old at the time, but I do remember going home that day and feeling angry, because my mom had explained to me what happened, and it angered me that somebody would attack our country like that. My dad actually owns an embroidery and screen printing business in Brooklyn, and he does a lot of work for fire departments, making sweatshirts and stuff for them. In fact, one of his friends was a fire department in East New York, by the Verrazano Bridge, right by the Trade Center, and he wasn't feeling well that morning. So when he went in, he told the captain, is it all right if I drive today? So the captain said, yeah, sure. So when they got the call that morning to go in to Manhattan, he was driving, and when they got there, all the men he was with, every single one of them died, except for him, because he was driving. He felt so guilty that after that he retired.
A close friend of mine, at least back then, she was a close friend of mine. Her father worked for Cantor Fitzgerald, and that was on the 111th floor. So when the plane hit, her father was above, so he never really had a chance. Some of my friends' parents who were working in the building, since all transportation was shut down completely, and most of at least my friends' family members lived uptown, and it was way downtown the World Trade Center. A couple parents were missing for days, and like miraculously made it home, because it was a very long walk. Made it home like hours and days later, which is pretty amazing. My friend's uncle, they didn't even find his body. They notified him literally months later from dental records when they were cleaning up the rubble.
The week before 9/11 had happened, it was just a weekend before, I think on a Saturday, my grandmother, my cousins, my aunt and uncle had went over to the Twin Towers for a trip up to the top. So that, I mean, I guess it's kind of scary to think that they had been there just a week later, that it could have been them who died too.
Hardest part, probably being, because my best friend's uncle, his cousins, I knew his cousins, or Michael Carroll, who passed away, his son and his daughter, and I mean, just the fact that they weren't going to grow up with a father, and they were so young when he passed away. Brendan was, I believe he was 8 or 9, and Olivia was his daughter, and Olivia was like 6, so I mean, it was like heartbreaking for her.
Yeah, I definitely feel, you know, that I had a different experience than anyone else in the country, you know, being from New York. At the time, everyone who I knew was, you definitely could see that people were coming together, helping other people out. You know, I went to school with the kid whose father had died. I still, you know, to this day meet a whole bunch of firefighters, policemen who were involved. And, you know, just to hear a whole bunch of stories from people that I know definitely makes me feel just, you know, more involved in what had happened on that day.